So it is 5 minutes past 9. Hello everybody. I would like to welcome you to our webinar, How to Become Your Customer's First Choice, from Lean Six Sigma Academy and iSQI or iSQI GmbH. Thank you very much to join us today. First, I would like to introduce you Dick Tysons, the Managing Director of CIMM, and me, Corinna Fleming-Vogt from iSQI. We will guide you through the presentation today. In the beginning, I will start with a short introduction, giving you some general information about iSQI, who is an international certification body for example, Lean Six Sigma examinations. Afterwards, I would like to hand over to our host for today, Mr. Dick Tysons. Okay, for those who haven't been in contact with iSQI before, let's start with the introduction, where we'll give you some facts and figures about iSQI. iSQI has been founded in 2004 in Potsdam, Germany. And until now, we have 3 branches worldwide in the Netherlands, UK, and the US. Until today, we conducted over 140,000 exams in 6 continents, or on 6 continents in 90 countries and in 10 languages. We are working together with over 300 invigilators who are conducting exams globally. iSQI is proud to announce that beside our offices in Potsdam, Amstelveen, London and Boston, we are going to open further 15 iSQI group offices in cities all around the world. All of them will be fully operational by mid-2018 and will be offer public exam sessions. With these new entities and the cooperation with our partner Pearson VUE and the numerous test center, we are happy to expand our delivery capability to be able on site of our test takers all over the world. Here you can see an overview of our product portfolio, which contains certifications in many different areas. We started in 2004 with software testing and now offer certifications in requirement engineering, mobile app testing, management, or usability. And as management processes and software engineering is a very important topic and the demand for certifications in this area is growing constantly, we will give you some insight in the subject today. Before we will start with the webinar, please let me give you a short briefing about the operational part of the session. All attendees, please keep your volume control on mute during the whole session. And please feel free to ask questions by using the chat functions. We will be happy to answer your questions after the presentation. So now I would like to hand over to Mr. Dick Tysons, our specialist today.
Okay, thank you, Corinna, for the introduction, and welcome everybody. I will put on my camera so you can also see me besides the PowerPoint presentation. I will go through you through this presentation. It's about 20 minutes, I guess, and then there's a possibility to ask questions. So first of all, my short introduction. My name is Dick Tysons. I'm working as a Master Black Belt, Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt for CIMM. CIMM is an ATO of iSQI. And we are working with the LSSA scheme for certification of Lean and Six Sigma. And for this training, we use the books that you can see in the screen in the middle, the yellow, green, and black belts. It's one of the books that I'm the author of, and it's also used for many other trainings. So I would like to explain to you how to become your customer's first choice. And for this, we will use the CIMM model for it, the continuous improvement maturity model. It's a framework that helps companies to define where they are and where they want to go in their continuous improvement strategy in order to become the customer's first choice. And the purpose of this webinar is to explain briefly how this maturity model works. So you can see it in the bottom of the screen. It has two axes. It's about, first of all, improving the processes, and secondly, of developing the organization. And I will go there in depth on each of these elements. So let's go there. Before I do that, I would like to state that it's very important that these both axes, the improvement processes and the developing the organization, both axes should be in balance. Because if you want to improve your process on a very high level and the organization is not ready for it, it will not work. So first of all, I would like to take a look at the process improvement axis. And this one has 5 elements, 5 levels, 5 maturity levels. And we will start with the first level, which is called creating a solid foundation. Creating a solid foundation is the basics. It's very important. If you do not have a solid foundation, it makes no sense to get to the next levels. So let's see what is important in this first level. The focus of this first level to create a solid foundation is about structure. It's about a professional work environment. It's about standardization and about reliable equipment. So the purpose of this webinar is not to explain each of these elements in detail, because I can talk about maybe one day about 5S and even more days about equipment maintenance, but that's not the focus of this element of this webinar. What is important is to know that these 3 main important elements is to get a professional work environment. It's about cleanliness, it's about safety, it's about finding things at the right location and not working in a mess, basically. And there is a method to do that, and that is the method which is called 5S. Secondly, according to the Japanese improvement gurus, standardization is the most important one. If you do not have any standards, there's no possibility to develop your processes. So getting the standardization in line, that means you have standards, people work according to the same standards, then you can improve your standards later on. And then the third element is equipment. Reliable equipment is not only about physical equipment, like real machines, it's also about the software, the system, your computers, everything that you need to do your work. It should be reliable, of course. For physical equipment, there is an improvement method which is called TPM, Total Productive Maintenance. So having these 3 elements in line, it will give you a good basic to further improvement. So let's go to the second level then. The second level is about creating a continuous improvement culture. Well, the word culture is already a challenge in itself, because it means that the whole organization needs to follow this culture and need to be involved in this improving processes. So let's see how it looks like. First of all, the focus of this element is about creating insights and getting all the people involved in the improvement process. So the insight is about getting your KPIs, your key performance indicators, your measurement data at the right level to know where you are, what is on schedule, what is not on schedule, what has good quality, what is not good quality, etc. It's not gut feeling, but getting the right figures about your efficiency, about your quality. And then in the picture I showed you earlier, you saw a lot of people standing on this improvement board, this communication board, as a daily standard meeting, maybe 10 minutes at the early beginning of the day. Take a look, what did we do yesterday, what was okay, what was not okay, and where do we need any help. Secondly, it's about flow, getting flow, and I have a nice picture later on about what flow looks like. Flow means that you should see items moving to the finished goods departments. That's for physical goods, of course. If you're working behind a computer, it's a little bit more difficult to see, but at least it means that at the end of the day, work is done. It's not about doing activities, it's about getting things done. And the third element is about then continuous improvements and getting people involved in that. And a pretty good method to do that is Kaizen. the Kaizen methods. It's about making small improvements, getting everybody involved, and following for that is mostly done by doing the plan, do, check, act circle, the PDCA circle, famous from the PDA from Deming. And on the bottom you see there, go to Gemba. Go to Gemba is a Japanese term. It means, Gemba means work floor, shop floor. It means there, the place where the work is done. You should go there, not sitting in a meeting room behind beamers, but go to the shop floor, see where the problem is, if you want to solve some problems. Then let's go to the third level. The third level is about lean. It's about getting stable, efficient processes, predictability, and here you can see what I mean with flow. What you see here is the belt, the first belt that was invented by Ford already 100 years ago in 1912, so even more than 100 years. And actually, some people say this is the start of lean. So this is how flow looks like. The third element focuses on efficiency and stability and predictability. And for that, there's a lot of tools and techniques to use, so I cannot call them all of them. I cannot explain all of them, of course. But what is important is what you see on the left is the 5 principles of lean: value, value stream, flow, pool, and perfection. So value means from a customer starting point. If you want to become your customer's first choice, you need to understand your customer. You need to know what means value for this customer. The value stream is your process. That's, let's say, the chain of activities that come up with the value. And within this value stream, lean focuses on identifying and eliminating waste. And in the middle of your screen, you see 8 types of waste, which are defined by lean. I will not call them all of them, but if you make a value stream map, which is a very important tool within lean, then the main element is of, let's say, identifying these 8 types of waste and eliminating the waste. So flow we already reviewed, and then the 4th lean principle is pull. You should not push your work through the organization, but you need to pull the work through your organization, starting with your customer that does the first pull, and then every let's say work location, workstation, person in the organization should work according to this pull principle. And then the 5th element is about continuous improvement, striving to perfection. Not thinking that today we are done, but tomorrow will be a new day and we need to add in tomorrow, let's say, a little bit more, a little bit improvement every day. And if you do that for years and you improve your work every day, every week, every month, then you become a better organization. We go to the 4th element. Then we talk about a capable process. The term capable is used for different types, but if we talk about a capable process from the perspective of Lean and Six Sigma, we're talking about capability, as you can see in this picture on the left. You see there a normal distribution, and I can explain this with this car. If the walls are your garage and you park in the garage, let's say 100 times, and you measure the distance to the wall, then you can make this normal distribution if you use these data. And the smaller this distribution is, the higher your capability is. So the less risk you have to hit the wall. If you have a process and your capability is low, then it means that you have yield loss, you have problems, you have quality spills. And the focus of the focus of Six Sigma means reducing variation and getting the skippability up on a higher level. Secondly, Six Sigma is about data, not necessarily big data, but you see it more and more getting combined, Six Sigma and big data. It's of course about the right data, not about big data, but nevertheless, it's about data. So Lean is about process and organization, and Six Sigma is about analyzing the data using statistical techniques. You can see one on the bottom. I will not explain you how it looks like. But if you do Six Sigma on the proper level, it means that you have 3.4 ppm. That means 3.4 parts per million, or let's say activities per million activities, which are not within the right limits. That means a bad product or a bad service. And if you are at Six Sigma level, then it's only 3 within 1 million activities, which is not according to specification. So that's very, very low. It's almost 100% good quality. In order to follow these improvement activities, there is a structured approach for that. That's different than the PDCA that we discussed earlier. The PDCA is more for small improvement activities. And the DMIC, as you can see on the left, that is the Six Sigma approach. The DMIC stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. And it's a much more structured approach than the PDCA, and these activities, these projects take also much longer. You have to think about 3 to 6 months, while a PDCA continuous improvement activity on the second level is more like a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but not like many, many months. So these projects are taking longer, are more difficult also, more complicated. So let's go to the final level, level 5. It's about creating a future-proof process, a future-proof organization. You see there a nice robot. That's more for industry, let's say, but even in service organizations and healthcare, people are now working on the 5th level, and that has a couple elements. First of all, Six Sigma that I just explained was about solving problems, and the 5th level is using design for Six Sigma. It's more to prevent problems from the early stage of product and process development, making sure that you do not have any problems, so you do not have to start a Six Sigma project. It's a slightly different roadmap for that. That's the METV, Define, Measure, Analyze, and Design, and Verify. So you see 2 different phases in the end, and there are additional tools to use within these phases. Also, you have to take a look at your product lifecycle and management, and then you see on the right, you see a focus on smart industry, also called Industry 4.0, which is the 4th industrial revolution. This is a very special topic. Maybe we can have a webinar on this topic in another moment. But what you can see on the left and that figure is that operational excellence is difficult to see, but you see there that Lean and Six Sigma is still one of these 7 elements within the 4th industrial revolution. But you see also 6 other elements. So it's much more complicated than only Lean and Six Sigma, but it's still very important basis. So we took a look now at the 5 maturity levels of improving your processes, but there are 2 axes. The other axis I mentioned was about developing the people and the management of the organization. And there's also 5 levels there. And let's go there right away to the first one. It means that you need to have focus and orientation. You need to have a vision. Your management need to know, need to explain to you what is the objective of the organization, where they want to stand in a couple of years from now. And everybody should be involved in meeting those objectives, get the strategy executed. So if there's no long-term orientation and people are working but not knowing what to do and what is their contribution to the strategy of the organization, it is a problem. So this is an important element. And within Lean and Six Sigma, we call this the true north. The second element about developing your organization is about the quality of management. And there's a whole story and a lot of tools and techniques behind it, and objectives and descriptions, what means good management, what means the good quality of management. But it's mainly about integrity, reliable and trustful management. Another important element is about stimulate the creativity of the organization, stimulation of creativity of people, not telling them what to do, but asking them the right questions and getting use of the knowledge and experience which is in the total employee, let's say a group of employees. Indecisiveness, making strong decisions and making them fast. Then the third element is about the openness and action-oriented organization, which means that people like to go to their work. They have work pleasure. It's an open environment. They are not scared to tell their opinion. They are not scared of the management. They share their good ideas with other people. So that's what is meant with safe environments. But it's also result-oriented. You need to know what is expected of you. You need to know how that is measured. It's not about just doing your work, but also measuring the quality and the output of your work, and make sure that you have data that you can discuss with other people. Are we on the right track? Are we doing well? Do we need to do something else? Do we need to improve somewhere, etc.? That is mentioned with result-oriented. Then the fourth element is about developing a learning organization. People need to develop themselves in order to get the organization developed. If you do 30 years the same job and you do not learn, you do not develop yourself, then your products and services will not develop either. So it's about competence development. It's about working in teams together. It's about able to make mistakes, to learn from your mistakes, to work in multidisciplinary teams, also called complementary workforce, and work together with partners. So also people outside the organization. It can be suppliers, it can be customers, it can be other people from other companies to work together on new products and new services. And we call that co-creation. Co-creation is also a very important element in smart industry, in the fourth industrial revolution, as I just showed. Then finally, the organizational agility. I just mentioned that some people work 30 years in the same company and do not change. Well, that's not agile. And agility has always been important, but it gets more and more important nowadays because the world is getting fast. Changes are fast, and we need to adapt. Persons need to adapt. Organizations need to adapt. So people in organizations need to welcome change. We cannot say we do not like change and we will do it in the next 10 years the same as we did it in the past 10 years. It will not happen. It also means fast decision making, and that can only be done if you work in small teams that have the right empowerment, have the right knowledge, the right experience to make these decisions also fast. If you work with 100 people on one project and you only move if all these 100 people are aligned with each other, you are not agile because you will not make the right decisions in short time. So this is in a nutshell, let's say that the two axes of, first of all, developing your process improvements, and secondly about developing the people in the organization. And please keep in mind again that these both axes have to be in line. Then finally, if you want to develop an organization, then first of all you need to know where they are. So we have an assessment for that available. It is in the black belt book that I will show you if you want to take a look at the assessment. This is one of the books that we use in the training. It also has the assessment, and you can see where the company is, and you can develop your strategy of how to improve then the company. Then it is important to understand that for process improvements, you have to do it item by item, level by level. You cannot go to the fourth level if the first level is not there. For developing people and organization, it can be possible to work on several levels at the same time. So you can work on your focus, you can work on learning organization, and you can work on agility all at the same time. Please keep focus, of course, but for process, it's very important that you do it in the right order. So again, we have an assessment for that. If you want to have more information about this, you can contact us or Karina, and this helps to get, let's say, the right direction. So again, In a nutshell, this was the continuous improvement maturity model. We're using it already for about 10 years, so it is tested and it's working, and it gives persons and it gives organizations very good insight on where to go and how Lean and Six Sigma can contribute to the organizational development and contribute to become your customer's first choice. So thank you. There is now time for questions if you have one. So, Corina, you can take over again.
Okay, thanks for the moment. So we will wait 1 or 2 minutes to give the attendees the chance to ask some questions. Some came in already. So I will read out the first questions. If anybody else wanted to ask someone more, please use the chat function. Okay, I will start with the first one. One attendee asked, I think I understood your explanations, but can you explain once more the difference between Lean and Lean Six Sigma?
Yes, let me see. So Lean is more like at a third level. It comes before Six Sigma. In the past, I met a lot of companies that started with Six Sigma and then went back to Lean first because they had no stable and predictable processes. If you do not have a stable process, you get a lot of unstable data, and unstable data is difficult to analyze with Six Sigma. So I saw a lot of companies doing the wrong order and the wrong analysis. So you need to have a stable data set before you can use Six Sigma to reduce your variation with the data. So it comes hand in hand. But it is important that you choose the right method at the right moment. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I think so. Second question was, one of our clients is implementing Six Sigma on a broad scale, but according to my opinion, they are maturity level. Is it too early to start with Six Sigma program?
Yeah, that's pretty much in line with my earlier answer, I guess. You need to know where you are first before you pick up the certain improvement method. There are a lot of improvement methods. I mentioned a couple. You have TPM, Kaizen, Lean, Six Sigma. It's all improvement methods. Some has the same techniques and tools, but some specific techniques cannot be applied at a certain moment. So you need to start with getting your processes stable, getting your culture, getting a proper improvement culture. People need to know what the contribution is, and then later on you see that companies adapt Six Sigma to do the more difficult part with the statistics. You see also different people using that kind of tools. So continuous improvement using the PDCA improvement circle can be done on the shop floor, but with people with lower education, that's no problem. But if you apply Six Sigma with statistics, it becomes pretty much more complicated, and the organization needs to be ready for that, but also people need to be ready for that. You need to have the knowledge as well. Yeah.
Okay. Another question was, our company does not have many data of its processes available. Can we apply Six Sigma?
Maybe some elements. So Six Sigma is a very broad tool set. I sometimes say it's more than 100 techniques and tools, and some of these can be used also at lower improvement levels. So even Ishikawa is also part of the Six Sigma toolkit, which can be applied always. Also the DMIC roadmap that I showed, Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, Control. This roadmap we also use sometimes for Lean projects, so without any Six Sigma. So you can do a combination. It's like a one big toolkit for both Lean plus Six Sigma, and proper green belt or black belt should be able to select the proper tool at the right moment.
Okay, another question was, how long would a DMIAC project take, more or less?
Yeah, that depends, of course, on the problem. If you have a small problem, then it is sooner. But a rough estimate, I would say, is between 3 and 6 months. And your first project will take longer. But if you are getting more experience, then I would say 3 months. if a project will take much more than 5 months, let's say, then it's sometimes better to split the project into smaller projects. Compared to a PDCA, a Plan, Do, Check, Act Kaizen project, it will take only a couple of days, couple of weeks. So Six Sigma takes much longer.
Okay, some more questions. One attendee asked, what's the difference between green belt and black belt?
Yes, I did not mention the colors in this presentation, but there are four levels: yellow, orange, green, and black belts. And then even you have master black belt, which is a very experienced black belt, let's say. So you see a yellow belt is more like a training of maybe 2 days. The level is mostly remember and understand, so it's not really apply. So it's a lot of knowing what is the right approach, and you can be a very valuable team member, but if you want to be a project leader of an improvement project, you need to be a green belt at least. And the green belt mostly works within his own department, and a black belt mostly works on larger projects with more impact, also on different departments, different processes. And he has more tools and techniques that he knows, more complicated techniques as well. So what you see is people mostly start as a green belt and take a couple of years experience and then do another training and become a black belt.
Okay, next questions. I heard somebody tells me he's a green belt. Is there a difference between a lean green belt and a lean Six Sigma green belt?
Yeah, well, first of all, these colors, these belts, were made up were defined by Motorola somewhere in the 90s, late 80s. So these colors are from Six Sigma. Then around 2008, 2009, lean was added to that. And it was still called a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, which of course is okay because it was already Six Sigma and then Lean was added. But what you now see in the past couple of years is that because a lot of companies, organizations are not ready for Six Sigma, they only do Lean. So they took out the Six Sigma again and only leave Lean. So actually the colors are not applicable for Lean. So even a Lean Green Belt does not exist, but you see in the market many people are taking Lean classes and call them Lean Black Belt, and they have more sophisticated Lean education, and they call them themselves Lean Black Belt. So you see it more and more, and I think that's the development of the market. But you should know that these belt levels are originally coming from Six Sigma. So there is a big difference. A Lean Black Belt has no education in Six Sigma techniques.
Okay, so I think one more last question, then everybody should be okay. Somebody asked, I'm a software tester. How can Lean or Six Sigma be of any help to my work?
Yeah, well, ICT is a special sector, of course. There's no physical industry where you can see your cars moving or your products moving. First of all, you need to understand that Lean and Six Sigma is applied in all different kind of sectors. So not only in industry, it's done in healthcare, in government, education. So it should also be possible to apply certain part of these techniques in ICT, because everybody has a customer, everybody works in a process, and everybody needs to measure its quality and lead time and things like that. So you have your process, you have your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So you can use techniques from Lean Six Sigma to improve your work and improve your processes. But maybe not all the techniques can be used in every environment. Sometimes it makes no sense to use a certain tool in a certain environment. I know that many people in ICT and also in software testing use Scrum. Scrum is similar to continuous improvement communication boards, basically developed by Lean, by Kaizen, and it's now used very often in ICT. So this at least can be done in ICT. Very important tool, yes. And there's more.
Okay, I think.
Hope the answers were all clear for you.
Yeah, there were no more questions. I think everybody is, yeah, got the information. So I would say thank you to you, Mr. Tysons, and now come to the closing part of our whole webinar. 1 second, I have to. So we talked a lot about the Lean Six Sigma certifications. Yeah, once more the picture of the different belts. Yeah, and as mentioned in the beginning, iSQI is a certification body who offers examinations for Lean Six Sigma belts, all belts, yellow, orange, green, and black. And I think what is important to know is that all LSSR certifications can be obtained independently of one another by taking the necessary certification exams. So for today, if you are thinking of a Lean Six Sigma certification for yourself or for your team, for example, we have a special offer for you. Use the code improvement10 for a 10% discount on the published prices for LSR Lean Six Sigma exams with iSQI. Yeah, you can visit our online shop on isqui.org or write an email to exam@isqui.org and book an exam. And with this voucher code, you get a 10% discount on your exam. Yeah, you can choose whether you like to do a paper-based exam or a SMAX exam, which is called Smart Exam. It's on PC or a tablet. Or what is new, you can also take the Yellow Belt exam in one of the PSMU test centers around the world. If you have any questions, just write us an email and we will be happy to answer your questions. Okay, so thank you very much for attending. I hope you had a great time with us. And yeah, I will say bye-bye.